careful to say, pornography didn't cause me to do this. In other words, he was trying to say, I'm not trying to escape the responsibility for what I did. I take the responsibility for it. But violent pornography played a key role in his life. And then remember what he said? He said, I have never seen a member of death row who had committed rape and had been involved in the kind of things that Ted was. He said he had never seen such a person who was not deeply into pornography. And the FBI's study showed just that it is true. Now, not everybody who gets into softcore pornography is going to walk down this path toward murder and rape. But a few are. And if it's only 20 a year in a nation like the United States, and each one of them kills 28 women, it's too many. And yet this stuff is still sold. I want to tell you one more thing about pornography, and then I want to hear from you. I want you to talk to me about what we've been discussing here. The greatest danger of pornography for you all, because unless you're very unusual, you haven't progressed too far down this path. But there are guys here who are into this stuff. I mean, in any room of 175 people, it's going to happen because it's so pervasive. You know, you can get it everywhere. And as I said, teenagers typically are the #1 buyers of it. So, and there could be some girls involved in it too, but probably a smaller percentage. At any rate, if you're back in here someplace, the greatest danger of this stuff is not that you will become a serial murderer. Let's be serious. I'm not saying that that's going to happen. It's highly unlikely because there are very few that take it that far. It's horrible when they do, but very few. What is dangerous for you all, and what I saw as a member of this Attorney General's Commission on Pornography, and I determined as I was flying back and forth across this country to do what I could to warn people your age about this, because it's not being said. The greatest danger is that the guys especially will get addicted to this stuff and start walking down that path, and then comes the time to get married. And there is nothing about marriage that eliminates any addiction. Getting married doesn't take away the desire for drugs. Getting married does not cure an alcoholic. Getting married does not cure a gambler. Getting married does not cure a person deeply into pornography. Now you got a new problem, because men and women are very different, as you know. Men are primarily visual in nature, you know, far more so than women are. You just watch a bunch of guys when a pretty girl walks by. Come on, what do they do? I mean, they gawk, right? They turn around and stare at her when she goes by, because guys are visual. That's where the sexual stimulation comes from. That's why pornography influences men so much more than women. I went into these sex shops with that pornography commission. We had police escort. You don't find women in there. There are no women in there. There are only men in there, because it appeals to a masculine source of stimulation. Women, by contrast, are far more stimulated by romantic relationships, by touch, by somebody she knows, by a specific person. For a guy, it's generalized. I mean, a girl's walking down the street and she spent 2 hours arranging herself to score a hit on his sensory apparatus, and she's coming toward him and he sees it and he responds to it, because that's the way he's made. For women, it's very different. So when pornography comes into marriage and he's addicted to it and she's not, it drives a wedge between them. And it destroys their sexual relationship. I bet you've never heard anybody say that. Nobody tells you that. In fact, there are many husbands and wives that buy this stuff thinking that it'll spice up their marriage. And what it really does is it takes them on two separate paths. And the guy sees things in print, sees pictures and videos that make him want her to do things she doesn't want to do, and she's offended by that. And she knows it's wrong, and she pulls back from it, and he feels rejected by it. Furthermore, folks, there is nothing in reality it can possibly compete with airbrushed fantasy. You know, it just destroys desire in a marital relationship. And I hope just a comment or two like that would help. If it helped one of you and the people that are going to see this video to avoid walking down that path, I think it's well worth what we're doing here. Anybody have any comment or question? Yes.
If people like Ted Bundy do the things they do, how come hardcore pornography is so available to the public?
Because there's